Have you ever wondered why you have your mother's eyes or your father's smile? It's all thanks to genetics, the science of heredity. Imagine a vast cosmic library filled with blueprints for life. These blueprints are your genes, tiny segments of DNA carrying instructions for your traits, from hair color to height. Passed down through generations, they are the threads that weave the tapestry of life. Think of your parents as artists, each contributing a set of colored pencils to your genetic palette. These pencils are your alleles, different versions of the same gene. Some colors, or alleles, are more dominant, like a bold red, while others are recessive, like a soft blue. This intricate dance of inheritance, the passing of traits from parent to offspring, shapes who we are. It's a story written in the language of genes, a story that began billions of years ago and continues to unfold today. Our understanding of inheritance owes much to a humble monk named Gregor Mendel. In the mid-19th century, long before the discovery of DNA, Mendel conducted groundbreaking experiments that laid the foundation for modern genetics. Mendel's laboratory was a simple garden plot where he meticulously cultivated pea plants. He noticed patterns in their traits, like flower color and seed shape, passed down through generations. He realized these patterns could be explained through simple mathematical principles. Mendel's meticulous observations and detailed record-keeping led him to formulate two fundamental laws of inheritance: the law of segregation and the law of independent assortment. These laws revolutionized our understanding of how traits are passed from one generation to the next. Mendel's experiments focused on easily observable traits in pea plants. He carefully crossbred plants with different characteristics, such as tall and dwarf plants, or those with smooth and wrinkled seeds. By meticulously tracking the traits of the parent plants and their offspring over multiple generations, Mendel uncovered the underlying rules of inheritance. He observed that when he crossed a true breeding tall plant with a true breeding dwarf plant, all the offspring in the first generation were tall. However, when he crossed these tall offspring, the dwarf trait reappeared in the next generation. This suggested that the trait for dwarfism hadn't disappeared. It was hidden, masked by the dominant trait for tallness. Through careful analysis, Mendel determined that each parent plant contributes one allele for each trait to its offspring. These alleles could be the same, resulting in a homozygous individual, or different, resulting in a heterozygous individual. The combination of alleles inherited from the parents determines the offspring's traits. Section 4. Segregation. 1. From each parent. Mendel's law of segregation elegantly explains how alleles are distributed during gamete formation. During sexual reproduction, each parent contributes one allele for each gene to its offspring. Imagine a deck of cards, with each card representing an allele. When gametes, sperm, and egg cells are formed, the deck is shuffled, and each gamete receives one card, or allele, for each gene. This means that offspring inherit one allele from their mother and one from their father for every trait. If both parents contribute the same allele, the offspring is homozygous for that trait. If the parents contribute different alleles, the offspring is heterozygous, and the dominant allele will determine the expressed trait. This principle of segregation is fundamental to understanding inheritance patterns. It explains why offspring resemble their parents, but are not exact copies. It's like shuffling a deck of cards. Each hand dealt is unique, but the cards themselves remain the same. Section 5. Independent assortment, mixing and matching. Mendel's law of independent assortment describes how alleles for different traits are inherited independently of each other. Imagine you're ordering a meal at a restaurant. You can choose your appetizer, main course, and dessert independently. Similarly, genes for different traits are inherited like separate courses on a menu. During gamete formation, the alleles for different genes are shuffled and sorted into gametes independently of one another. This means that the inheritance of one trait, like flower color, does not influence the inheritance of another trait, like seed shape. This independent assortment of alleles contributes to the vast diversity we see in living organisms. This principle explains why you might inherit your mother's curly hair and your father's blue eyes. These traits are inherited independently of each other. The genes for hair texture and eye color are shuffled and sorted into gametes independently, creating a vast number of possible combinations.